On behalf of all of us at the Disability Resource Center, we'd like to welcome you to the Emergency Preparedness webinar. We'd like to thank Robert Cox, our Executive Director, Angie Dyer, our Independent Living Specialist, Carol Davis, our Program Coordinator, Don Keck, our Financial Coordinator, Neil Hickam, our Community Living Advocate, Christy Warren, our Outreach Coordinator, and Jackie Ross, our ASL Interpreter. If you have any questions or comments, please jot them down in the chat section. We will address those questions at the end. We hope this presentation will be educational and useful as you begin to prepare for the upcoming hurricane season. While this presentation focuses on hurricane preparedness, the information can be used to prepare for any type of emergency situation. Hurricane season has historically started in June. But now, in 2021, the beginning of the season is May 15th. According to the Colorado State's first outlook for 2021, indications are that we'll see another active season in the Atlantic. While driving around Bay, Gulf, Jackson, and Washington counties, you can still see the effects of Hurricane Michael from 2018. Many are still dealing with those effects. While nothing can prevent a hurricane from developing or changing their course, it is our hope that each family has a plan in place for the possibility that another hurricane may come this way. Homes, vehicles, and other belongings can be replaced. Your life and the life of your loved ones cannot. Let's begin making plans to keep you and your loved ones safe as possible. If you had to do it all over again, would you do something different than when Hurricane Michael came this way? Many of us left the area. Many went to local shelters. Many hunkered down in their homes. With what we learned from that terrible day on October 10th, 2018, can we correct our choices for future emergencies? Staying informed is key. Without the proper information, there is no way we can make sound and reasonable decisions. But who has that information? Alert Florida is a statewide program with each individual county providing specific local emergency notifications 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Signing up for that system is key to making sure you have access when it is needed. When you come into the Disability Resource Center to let us help you develop your personalized preparedness plan, we can assist you to sign up for your county's alert system online. NOAA is a weather radio system. They can be found on the listed frequencies on any radio. So, you've been alerted by the Florida Alert, or NOAA, that a storm is approaching. What should be done and when? There are many choices and varying circumstances that can make you do different than your neighbors, but the one thing we all can and should do is stay calm. At the beginning of hurricane season, double check your emergency kit. Make a list of items to be replaced or restocked. Begin to add essential missing items. Check your insurance. Read through your documents, or even call your agent to check coverage and see what you need to do to make sure things are as easy as possible after the emergency passes. Some policies will cover an evacuation under certain conditions. Some will cover contents of your freezer. Some will even cover items in storage units. It's good to know all this before a storm hits. Make sure you take videos and pictures of the contents of your home and cars. Write down serial numbers for electronics, etc. This will help a lot when it comes time to make a claim and to replace those lost items. 3 to 5 days out of rejected landfall. Clean up your yard. Pick up toys, decoration, garbage cans, anything else that might be a projectile during a storm. Check the storm drains on your street and make sure they're clear. Check your emergency kit and to-go bags. Add last-minute items such as clothes and essential items for every member for the family so you can quickly grab if you need to leave. Shop smart. During Isaac, stores like Whole Foods had more stock than, say, Walmart. Also, Costco and Sam's carry more stock than the average grocery store, so they'll have supplies in stock a little longer. Also, don't count out Walgreens, CVS, and stores like Office Depot, who all carry water and batteries. Avoid last-minute shopping by adding food, batteries, water, and other essentials needed throughout the year. Hit the bank. If the power goes out, so do the ATM machines and debit and credit card machines. Make sure you have some cash on hand for buying things after the storm before the power is restored. The morning before you plan to leave your home, board up your windows. You can use plywood or storm shutters. Duct tape does nothing really to protect your windows. If you rent, check with your landlord first. Charge all electronic devices, including your computer. This way, they will still work for a while after the power goes out. Your computer can also serve as a battery backup charger for your cell phone. Solar-powered chargers work great for after the power goes out to keep your devices charged. Having access to texting, the internet, and other cell calls is very important to keep informed after the storm. In fact, we'll be gifting 2 people with their own solar-powered chargers at the conclusion of this presentation. You must be present to win. Tell your friends and family your plans. Most importantly, before you leave your home or begin to hunker down, tell your friends and family outside of the storm area where you'll be going or where you'll be hunkering down at, especially if it's with someone else or at a shelter. Before you can tell your friends and family where you're going, you have to know first. So where? Will you stay in your home or evacuate? If evacuating, where? Having a plan is key. While you're driving up Highway 231, Highway 71, or Highway 77, or Highway 79 is not the time to start talking about where you're going to go. Decide in advance where your family will stay during a hurricane. At your home, a family member or a friend's home, a hurricane evacuation shelter, a hotel. Will the severity of the storm make a difference about what you do and where you go? Are you in a flood zone and prone to mandatory evacuation orders? That information will be important in your decision making. The Disability Resource Center can help you find out during your preparedness planning if your home is in a flood zone, so you can make a good decision. Pick backup locations in case there's a problem with your first choice. If you're not in an area that is recommended for evacuation, you can plan to stay at home. Either way, you need to let friends, family know where you are. Many people have 2 or more plans. If the storm is heading east to west, going west is probably not a good idea. If the storm is heading west to east, going east is probably not a good idea. Going north is usually a good idea. That's maybe why everybody's on the same road at the same time. So after talking it over, you've decided, or it was decided for you with a mandatory evacuation order to evacuate. Now what? If you decide to voluntarily leave or are ordered to evacuate the area, leave as quickly as possible. Take only essential items. Put your packed bag with your clothes, toiletry items, medicines, cash, identification, water and food, and other stuff in the vehicle. Put your important documents inside the vehicle. Load your pets and pet food and their supplies. Remember, some shelters cannot take pets and may only allow service animals. If you feel safe doing so, turn off the gas, electricity, and water to your home. Unplug your appliances and electrical equipment, radios, computers, and television to reduce the likelihood of electrical shock when the power is restored. Lock doors and windows. Put your emergency supply kit in your vehicle, booster cables, tools, bottled water, snacks, flashlight, flares, first aid kit, matches, blanket or sleeping bag, rain gear, or extra clothes. Tune your radio to the emergency instructions regarding the evacuation routes and shelters. Leave early enough to avoid being trapped by severe weather. Call your out-of-area family members to let them know where you're going. Leave a note in the house telling others when you left and where you're going. Wear sturdy shoes and clothing that provide some protection, such as long pants, long sleeve shirts, rain gear, and hats. Check with neighbors who may need a ride. Follow designated evacuation routes. Do not take a shortcut, as other routes may be blocked, and expect heavy traffic. Be alert for road hazards such as washed out roads or bridges, downed power lines and trees, and other blown debris. Do not drive around any barricades for any reason. Do not drive into a flooded area. Water can be deeper than it appears, and there's also the risk of driving off the roadway into a ditch or a ravine that you cannot see. Turn around, don't drown. Just 6 inches of fast moving water can knock you down. 1 foot of moving water can sweep a vehicle away. If your car stalls out, do not walk or swim through the floodwaters. Stay with the vehicle. Never transport gasoline in any type of container inside of your vehicle. Evacuating to a shelter is not a vacation at a 5-star resort. Bay County Emergency Management told us shelters are a lifeboat, not a luxury cruise. So if you're evacuating to a shelter, do not expect room service or on-site entertainment, down-filled mattresses, or meals prepared by the finest chefs. In fact, you're expected to bring your own food, enough for your entire family for 3 or 4 days. Blow-up mattresses, pillows, blankets, and things to keep you and the little ones occupied. Also, make sure you bring 3 to 4 days worth of medication with you when you come. There are special needs shelters for persons who are at high risk, such as the elderly, wheelchair-bound persons on oxygen, visually impaired, developmentally disabled, hearing impaired, those requiring life-sustaining equipment. Special needs shelters are specifically set up for persons with mental and/or physical health issues, care needs that exceed basic first aid, and are medically stable and do not exceed the capacity, staffing, and equipment of the special needs shelter. Evacuees are required to bring a caregiver, all medications, and any needed special equipment. Registering is not just important, but necessary. During your preparedness planning at the Disability Resource Center, we can help you register in advance if you qualify for a special needs shelter.
If you are assisting someone with special needs to evacuate, here's some great advice on how to help without creating a worse situation for that person or yourself. Always ask the person how you can best assist them. Ask, are you able to stand or walk without the help of a mobility device like a cane, walker, or wheelchair? Some elderly persons may respond more slowly to a crisis and may not fully understand the extent of the emergency. Repeat questions and answers if necessary. Be patient. Taking time to listen carefully or to explain again may take less time than dealing with a confused person who may be less willing to cooperate. Reassure the person that they will receive medical assistance without fear of being placed in a nursing home. Older people may fear being removed from their homes. Be sympathetic and understanding, and explain that this relocation is temporary. Before moving an elderly person, assess their ability to see and hear. Adapt your rescue techniques for sensory impairments. Persons with a hearing loss may appear disoriented or confused when all that's really wrong is that they can't hear you. Determine if the person has a hearing aid. If they do, is it available? Is it working? If it isn't, can you get a new battery to make it work? Reassure often. For example, you can say, you may feel afraid. That's okay. We're safe now. Traditionally, the term service animal referred to seeing eye dogs. However, today, there are many other types of service animals. Remember, a service animal is not a pet. Do not touch or give the animal food or treats without the permission of the owner. When a dog is wearing its harness, it is on duty. In the event you are asked to take the dog while you assisting the individual, hold the leash and not the harness. Plan to evacuate the animal with the owner. Do not separate them. Service animals are not registered, and there's no proof needed that the animal is a service animal. If the person tells you it's a service animal, treat it as such. However, if the animal is out of control or presents a threat to the individual or to others, remove it from the site. A service animal must be in a harness or on a leash. but it does not need to be muzzled. Remember, hearing aids do not guarantee that the person can hear and understand speech. They merely increase volume, not necessarily clarity. If possible, flick the lights when entering an area or room to get a hearing impaired person's attention. Establish eye contact with the individual, not the interpreter, if one is present. Use facial expressions and hand gestures as visual cues. Check to see if you have been understood and repeat if necessary. Offer pencil and paper. Write slowly and let the individual read as you write. Written communication may be especially important if you are unable to understand the person's speech. Keep instructions simple, in the present tense, and use basic vocabulary. For people who are visually impaired, announce your presence, speak out, and then enter the area. Speak naturally and directly to the individual, but do not shout. Don't be afraid to use words like see and look or blind. State the nature of the emergency and offer them your arm. As you walk, advise them of any upcoming obstacles. Offer assistance, but let the person explain what help they need. Do not grab or attempt to guide them without first asking them. Let the person grasp your arm or shoulder lightly for guidance. They may choose to walk slightly behind you to gauge your body's reactions to obstacles. Be sure to mention stairs, doorways, narrow passages, or ramps that are coming up. When guiding someone to a seat, place the person's hand on the back of the chair. If leading several individuals with visual impairments, ask them to guide the person behind them. Remember that you'll need to communicate any written information orally. When you have reached safety, orient the person to the location and ask if any further assistance is needed. If the person has a service animal, don't pet it unless the person says it's okay to do so. Remember, service animals must be evacuated with the person.
Is sheltering in place a good idea? Is it safe? Choose the most interior room, such as a closet or a bathroom. If you choose a basement, remember flooding could drive you to higher floors. Move your emergency kit and supplies to a storm cellar or the safest room in your home. Be sure to leave a clear path to exit if needed. Do not go outside during the storm, even during the eye of the storm. Things can change quickly during a hurricane, so no matter how prepared you are, things might not work out with sheltering in place, so be prepared. Put an axe and a white towel and a whistle in your attic, or keep it with you in the room you are sheltering. Yes, this sounds morbid, but in New Orleans, we learned that water rises quickly. Many families had to axe their way through the ceiling to escape to the attic or rooftop. The axe will help you get through the roof to escape if need be, and the white towel and the whistle will help you flag down help when needed. Or from people we know here in Panama City after Hurricane Michael. Getting out of your home once the storm is over may require breaking through walls and debris just to get out. If you cannot bust your way out, the whistle will help alert people to your location. Put the food in your freezer in black garbage bags. This way, when you have to clean it out, you can just tie up the bags, throw all the food away, less mess, less time, and less smelly too. Fill freezer bags with water to make ice. Put them in your freezer. This will keep things colder longer. You can also use gallon jugs, 2-liter bottles, and water bottles. Fill your bathtub with water. If the power goes out, you can flush your toilet by scooping water with a bucket from the full tub and dumping it down the toilet. This water can also be used for washing off. Evacuating to a shelter or sheltering in place with children can be trying, to say the least. The worst part of hunkering down with no electricity is dealing with the kids. We feel you. Here are some ways to keep them entertained without electricity. There are cards and board games. This is a great chance to relive your childhood and teach kids about the classics from before the world of tablets and iPads. Dominoes, War, Monopoly, literally hours of entertainment. Then sticker books. This is especially great for keeping toddlers entertained when you need to be hands off. Also, no chasing lost crayons with a flashlight. Hand clapping games. This is a winner if you have 2 or more kids, because you can teach them and let them entertain each other. Also, every kid needs to know Miss Mary Mack and A Sailor Went to Sea. Build a fort. Blankets, couch cushions, cardboard boxes, and pillows, and let them go wild. This can also make for a fun way to sleep together in an interior space if you need to be displaced from bedrooms. Favorite toys. Move Legos, Play-Doh, other non-powered toys into an accessible area so you aren't digging in the dark. Books. Read, read, read. And don't forget a book light. They're much more battery efficient than flashlights and can even be clipped to a child's search for hands-free lights during potty breaks or playtime. No matter if you shelter in place, evacuate out of the area, or to a shelter, an emergency kit is still very important. Other than the things listed, are there things you and your family might need to store in your kit?
Shopping tips. Dollar Tree has a lot of stuff at a reasonable price, such as toothbrushes, Band-Aids, non-perishable foods, and other paper products. If you're on EBT, buy an extra can or 2 every time you go shopping to help stock your box. As always, look for sales such as buy one, get one. And at the end of hurricane season, use those items you have in your box. Don't forget to restock with new products for the next year.
Keeping important documents safe from floodwaters or being lost in 155-mile-per-hour winds saves time, energy, and resources after the storm has passed. But pounds of paper are hard to secure. Is there a better option? Instead of worrying about stacks and stacks of documents, make electronic copies on a password-protected thumb drive. After Hurricane Michael, we learned that many people lost the paper copies of documents they needed to apply for FEMA and other assistance programs. Many places, such as the health department and the clerk of the courts, were not open to obtain new ones. Having electronic copies of these documents makes it easier to produce these documents as soon as possible to begin the healing and rebuilding process much quicker with less headaches. Disability Resource Center can help you store them and provide the thumb drive to save them. Everyone has different kinds of paperwork that needs to be kept during an emergency. Some people also make electronic copies of their household furnishings, copies of irreplaceable photos, diplomas, and other types of things. Disability Resource Center can help you keep your important files, photos, and copies safe and accessible. Stashing necessary foods in case of an emergency is important. It may take days before help from the outside the area shows up, weeks before electricity is back on. Food and water are vital to your survival. We've put together some ideas for different items that can be stored for long periods of times, do not require cooking, or that requires minimum heating and still provide the necessary nutrients to keep you going.
We've talked about early prep just before an emergency. Now, what to do and not to do during the emergency. During a hurricane. During a storm, howling winds, driving rain, and the threat of tornadoes can make riding out a hurricane scary. Follow these tips for staying safe in your home during a hurricane. Stay inside and away from windows, skylights, and glass doors. Find a safe area in your home, an interior room like a closet or bathroom on the lower level. If flooding threatens your home, turn off electricity at the main breaker. If you lose power, turn off major appliances such as air conditioner and water heater to reduce damage. Do not use electrical appliances, including your computer. Do not go outside. If the eye of the storm passes over your area, there will be a short period of calm, but at the other side of the eye, the wind speed rapidly increases to hurricane force and will come from the opposite direction. Also, do not go outside to see what the wind feels like. It is too easy to be hit by flying debris. Beware of lightning. Stay away from electrical equipment and don't use a phone or take a bath or shower during the storm. After a hurricane. More deaths and injuries occur after a hurricane hits than during. This is because people are too anxious to get outside and survey the damage and come into contact with downed power lines or unstable trees. Follow these suggestions for staying safe after a hurricane. Remain indoors until an official all clear is given. Do not touch fallen or low-hanging wires of any kind under any circumstances. Stay away from puddles with wires in or near them. Do not touch trees or other objects in contact with power lines. Use phones for emergencies only and call 911 only for life-threatening situations. Call police or utility companies immediately to report hazards such as downed power lines, broken gas or water mains, overturned gas tanks, or any other dangerous situation you come across. Watch out for weakened roads, bridges, tree limbs, porches that could collapse unexpectedly, and never drive through floodwaters of any level. After power is restored, check refrigerated food for spoilage, which is the cause of much sickness 2 days to a week after the storm. When reinstalling a cable-based TV or satellite antenna, Check all directions to be sure no power lines are nearby. The same goes for climbing trees to clear debris. Do not operate charcoal grills, propane camping stoves, or generators indoors. Before you enter, if you're allowed back, do not bring children with you. Your home may be very dangerous. It may also unsettle small children to see their house in a dilapidated state. If there is serious structural damage, call local officials before entering. Also, immediately report hanging or damaged power lines to your local power company. If the area surrounding your home is flooded, turn back around immediately. Even though flooding is covered under your auto insurance policy, you don't want to get stuck in your vehicle. If the entrance to your home is flooded, don't approach hoping that your car won't get swept away or damaged by the flood. Enter with caution. Enter hesitantly and armed to confront wildlife taking refuge in your home. An animal may attack after becoming alarmed once you enter. Bring a broom or bear spray, which will work on just about any animal. Once inside, chances are that your utilities won't work. Expect to find yourself without water, gas, electricity, and phone service. This will be the condition of your home for quite a while, especially if the hurricane was especially severe. The food in your fridge will likely have spoiled if you didn't empty your fridge before leaving home. Do not drink any of the water from your pipes. It usually takes a few days for the authorities to declare whether or not the water is contaminated or drinkable. Do not take any chances. Contamination with sewage water is quite common after flooding. Bring battery-operated, heavy-duty flashlights because you will most likely not have electricity. Do not use candles in case there is a gas or propane leak. The best thing you can do is photograph the wreckage, which will be hard to capture if it's dark inside. You'll need these photographs for your homeowner's insurance claim, which you will file for the cost of rebuilding your home. Prepare a list of damaged items for your records to accompany your photographs. If we only knew then what we know now. This is when your electronic documents can save you time, energy, headaches, frustrations, and reduce the chances of being turned down for local, state, and federal assistance. After Hurricane Michael, we found that many people were turned down because they simply could not produce the tons of documentation needed to substantiate identity, income, disability, tax records, birth certificates, pay stubs, and so many more. Many could not recreate those documents in time to qualify. Having access to electronic copies of those documents can make the difference between getting the help you need and being turned down. Flooding. Limit contact with floodwaters. Floodwaters may have high levels of raw sewage or other hazardous substances. Early symptoms from exposure to contaminated floodwaters may include upset stomach, intestinal problems, headaches, and other flu-like discomfort. Anyone experiencing these and any other problems should immediately seek medical attention. Mold. Mold can cause serious health problems. The key to mold control is moisture control. After the flood, remove standing water and dry indoor areas. Remove and discard anything that has been wet for more than 24 to 48 hours. Drinking water. To kill all major waterborne bacterial pathogens, bring water to a boiling boil for 1 full minute. Managing debris. Disasters can generate tons of debris, including building rubble, soil, sediments, green waste, trees and shrubs, personal property, ash, charred wood. How a community handles disaster debris depends on the debris generated and the waste management options available. Burying or burning is no longer acceptable, except when permission or a waiver has been granted. Because of the side effects of smoke and fire from burning and potential water and soil contamination from burial. Typical methods of recycling and solid waste disposal in sanitary landfills often cannot be applied to disaster debris because of the large volume of waste and reluctance to overburden existing disposal capacity. Financial recovery is important too. Control your bills. Make a list of your creditors and their phone numbers. Contact them to let them know your situation. Ask about a temporary hardship or deferment option. Write down the details of those options, who you spoke with, the time and date of the call, any case ID numbers given, and a callback number. If your home is not habitable, call to suspend your utility services. Document everything. Take photos in good lighting of all property damage. Report it as soon as possible to your insurance or keep them handy to apply for aid. Keep all of your receipts. Do not throw out damaged goods or make major repairs until a claims adjuster visits you. Seek out assistance. You might get help paying for repairs and more immediate necessities. www.disasterassist.gov may help. Disability Resource Center is your local center for independent living. We can set up an appointment to review your family situation and help you to do the following: analyze your family's unique needs, develop your individualized emergency plan, create an up-to-date medications list for each member of your family, create a thumb drive with copies of all your family's important documents, register for Alert Bay, register for a special needs shelter if it's needed, and register for transportation to the shelters if that's needed. We also provide each member of your family a quote-unquote go bag with basic supplies with room for you to add more of the things you need.